Hello students, I am Bharti from Gyan Niketan Girls School. Welcome to the second session of the poem Amanda from your literature work First Flight. Today we will discuss the poem in detail. Let us begin with the explanation of the whole poem stanza wise. We have already discussed the central theme and the poetic devices of this poem in the previous session. In the previous video, I had explained the poetic devices, central theme, everything. Now, today in this video, I will discuss the poem stanza wise, what the poet wants to say. Let us begin with the first two stanzas. Don't bite your nail, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. There is a languid emerald sea where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. Students, as you can see in the second stanza, it expresses the feelings and emotions of Amanda, how she feels when she is pointed out by her mother, when her mother points out at her mistakes, especially regarding her gestures and postures. So let us begin the explanation. In the first stanza, Don't bite your nails, Amanda, in these lines, here the poet describes how Amanda is always being pointed out by her mother for her mistakes, especially her postures and gestures. The poet says that Amanda's mother is pointing out Amanda for biting her nails, which is a very bad habit. Next, she asks her to sit straight without bending her shoulders. Amanda has the habit of bending her shoulders and sitting lazily. Here, mother wants her to sit in the right posture. In the second stanza, as you can see, there is a languid emerald sea where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. Here, the poet has used the poetic device metaphor, emerald sea, and then there is an allusion, the device allusion has also been used, the mermaid has been referred here. When Amanda's mother points out at her mistakes, especially regarding her postures, how she sits, how she bends her shoulders, she objects, then Amanda doesn't feel good. She doesn't like her mother's words. She doesn't like her mother's pointing out her mistakes and bad habits. At this point of time, when she is being scolded by her mother, she imagines herself to be in a deep green sea. Here you can see emerald. Say emerald is a precious stone and its color is green. So here the poet has compared the sea with that precious stone, emerald, and because of the green color of the seawater. So the Amanda, she wishes herself to be the only resident of this beautiful green sea. She imagines herself like a mermaid who leads her life blissfully. So here again, Amanda is longing for uh, loneliness. She wants to live alone. She doesn't she doesn't like interruptions. She doesn't want that someone could intervene in her life and points out at her mistakes. She doesn't like, she feels that if she will stay alone, nobody will disturb her. There she could be able to enjoy her life in a better way. So here she is longing for freedom. See the next stanza. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. Again, students, you can see here that the mother is giving lot of instructions. She is inquiring whether she is asking Amanda whether she has done her homework or not. She again asks her whether she has cleaned her room or not. Further, she is reminded to clean her shoes also. So here we can see that the mother is constantly asking her questions regarding her homework being done or not, or whether she had tidied up her room or not, or cleaned her shoes or not. But on the other hand, Amanda is lost in her own world of imagination. See these lines which express the feelings of Amanda. I am an orphan roaming the street. I patterned soft dust with my first bare feet. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. Now this line, the silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. Okay, here again the poet has used metaphor. I will explain what the poet wants to say with the help of these lines. Okay, so here we will see I am an orphan. Now here, when the Amanda's mother points out, she wants to know whether she had finished her work or not, whether she had cleaned her room or not, whether she had polished or her shoes or not. So these are the things that a child is supposed to do, and Amanda's mother is also demanding that she is expecting Amanda to do all these things. So she is making an inquiry, and obviously it is reflected from these lines that Amanda might have not done these things. And here she doesn't like when her mother points out at these things, she doesn't like it. And then what she narrates that I'm or an orphan roaming the street. Yeah. So here she is lost in her own imaginations, in her own world, where while her mother is speaking to her, she imagines herself to be an orphan who is roaming in the streets. This means that she imagines that if she would have been without parents, means if she would have been an orphan, okay, she would have walked freely in the streets. She would have drawn designs of the soft dust with her uncovered feet very quietly. Here, Amanda holds an opposite opinion to her mother. Her mother asks her to keep her room neat and tidy, her shoes should be well polished, and to her opposite, Amanda wants to play in dust with her bare feet. It is quite evident that Amanda is fed up of her mother's constant instructions. She asserts that silence is golden, which means that silence is very crucial and precious. She further says that freedom is sweet. It means that she doesn't enjoy freedom. Due to her mother's constant nagging and interference, she hasn't tasted the sweetness of freedom. See these paragraphs. Don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda. Will you please look at me when I'm speaking to you, Amanda? Now see this line. Will you please look at me when I'm speaking to you, Amanda? Now, teenage children, kids, they have this tendency that when they are scolded, when their mistakes are pointed out, they just try to overlook the instructions of their elder ones, their parents. They don't pay attention to what is being said to them, and that really annoys and irritates the parents or the elders, whoever is pointing out to the child. So this is a very natural response of children who are pointed out, and the same thing Amanda is also doing it, and that irritates, and the mother is just telling her that you, when I'm speaking to you, you please look at me, you should pay attention to me, what I'm telling you, you should pay attention to it. That her mother is demanding to her. So here in this line, don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda. Now here in these lines, the mother is showing her concern for Amanda. She is telling her, she is asking her that you don't eat chocolates, because these chocolates, they are one of the cause that you are having acne on your on your face. Okay, so here she tells her, she reminds her of the acne on her face due to eating chocolate. So here she is talking about her well-being. She wants her face to be scarless. There should not be any patch, any mark any scars on her face, nothing. Her face should look very soft, clean, and it should be glowing. But if she would be consuming more and more chocolates, then she would not have such a beautiful face. She also scolds her for not paying attention to what her mother says. At this moment, Amanda imagines herself to be Rapunzel. I am Rapunzel. I have not a care. Life in a tower is tranquil. Tranquil means calm and rare. I will certainly never let down my bright hair. Now, here let me tell you about Rapunzel. It has been referred Rapunzel. Okay, Rapunzel is a fairy tale um, recorded by Brothers Grimm, and it was first published in 1812. It is in German language as a part, and it was published as a part of children's and household tales. Now Rapunzel, actually she was a princess. Okay, in the fairy tale, she is a princess. Rapunzel was captured by an old witch in a tower with the help of, and in that tower there, the entrance, the gate was at a great height. It was a small window through which one could get in or get out. The witch used to get out or get in into the tower through that little window that was placed at a great height. So Rapunzel, she had very bright long hairs, beautiful hair. So the witch had compelled her to let her hair down. And with the help of those long hairs, the witch used to climb up the tower. And when she had to come out of the tower again, she climbed down with the hair, with the help of those long hair. So Rapunzel here, Amanda, she wants to be Rapunzel, and she tells that I will certainly never let down my bright hair. Okay, so here actually she wants to live alone. She doesn't want to anyone to create disturbance, or nobody should get in where she wants to live in that tower where nobody could reach. She will not let her hair down. She will not allow anyone to get in. It One can get into that tower only when she will let her hair down. So she imagines herself in place of that princess Rapunzel, that she will be in that tower and nobody will get into and nobody will disturb her, and she will enjoy uh, peace there, and she will be quite happy. She will enjoy freedom there. So Amanda wants to be a Rapunzel because she feels that life in the tower will be peaceful and unusual. She thinks that she will be free and live in a peaceful environment in the tower. She also asserts to herself that she will never let her hair down to anyone so that nobody could get into the tower and dominate her. See the last stanza. Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You are always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. In the last stanza, the poet describes how Amanda's mother warns her for behaving in a very odd manner. She asks Amanda to stop sulking at once. She blames her for being so moody. She also scolds her by saying that her behavior will give an impression to other people that Amanda was being harassed by her mother. So her mother, so Amanda's mother uh, appears to be a dominating mother. She doesn't give any room to Amanda to react or express her feelings and emotions. Here, mother is constantly giving her instructions, and nowhere ever she lets Amanda to explain, to express her feelings and emotions in front of her. But at the same time, she is also conscious of this fact and doesn't want herself to be exposed like a dominating mother. See what she said there. And anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. So here, Amanda's mother is conscious, and that she does is she has the apprehension that no one should blame her, that she's not handling her child nicely. She is not giving freedom to Amanda. Her behavior is very strict. She is very strict. So this impression she doesn't want to come before the other people. So she is asking Amanda that you stop all these things. If you will do so, if you will behave in this manner, then other people will take me in a wrong way. So she doesn't want herself to be exposed before other people as a very strict and dominating mother. So, students, with this, we come to the end of this explanation session. I hope you all have understood the meaning of the whole poem along with the central theme and message. Thank you very much.